Hello everyone and welcome back to our YouTube channel. So today we are going to be talking about the cultural practices that have existed between Kenya and South Africa since time immemorial. So guys, there is an interesting video. Sit down, relax, and hope you watch till the end. So cultural practices have always played an essential role in defining the peoples of a particular region. And these two countries, or these two African countries or nations, are no exceptions. The cultural practices of South Africa and Kenya are deeply rooted in their history, and they have been passed down from one generation to another. So, history of the cultural practices between Kenya and South Africa. So for centuries, South Africa and Kenya have been engaged in trade and diplomatic relationships and cultural practices that have played a crucial role in this interaction. One of the most significant cultural practices between these two nations is the exchange of ideas, art, and music. Yeah, so like we can say recently, let's say like the piano music, this is a trend that has taken over all over the world, and Kenya is no exception because they have done piano music, and also the cultural interaction between these two Africans. Remember, it was this year that about January that the Kenyan government signed an agreement with the South African government that people between these two countries will be able to intertravel between these countries without visa requirement. So the first contact between South Africa and Kenya is believed to have occurred during the pre-colonial era. So when African tribes will migrate across the continent in search of fertile lands and better living conditions, this movement resulted in the exchange of cultural practices between different African communities. So as in we can contribute, like let's say like the Bantu community, like we can say like the Shona, the Zulu, these are Bantu communities. In Kenya we have also the Bantu communities. So these interaction happened during the pre-colonial times, So during the colonial period, during the colonial period, South Africa and Kenya were under British rule. Yeah, both countries were colonized by British, and the British attempted to impose their culture on these nations. However, the people of South Africa and Kenya resisted these attempts, and they continued to practice their own or their cultural traditions. So can we talk about the cultural practices between South Africa and Kenya? So South Africa has a rich cultural heritage that is reflected in its arts, music, and dance. So the country has a diverse population, and each ethnic group has its own cultural practices. One of the most significant cultural practices in South Africa is the traditional Zulu dance. Yeah, pretty amazing dance, all the women showing us that. So the Zulu people are known for their energetic and colorful dance performance that are accompanied by music and singing. Okay, so South Africa is also famous for its art, which include traditional beadwork, poetry, and wood carvings. So these art forms are often used to convey the stories and the traditions of a community or the tradition of South Africa to its people and all over the world. So let's come back to our home, the cultural practices in Kenya. So Kenya is also a country with diverse cultural heritage that is reflected in its music, dance, and art. Yeah. So the country is home to more than the 40 or 44 ethnic groups, and each has its own unique cultural practice. That's most important thing, and that's most sweetest thing about in Africa. You'll find that each community has its own unique cultural practice, except if maybe you are in one subgroup, but you'll find, even if you'll have the same, but there are things that will differ from one culture or one ethnic group to another. So one of the most famous cultural practices in Kenya is the Maasai dance. So the Maasai dance people or the Maasai people are known for their jumping dance, where young warriors leap high into the air while chanting and singing. Have you ever guys seen like how they do the dance with their head, Yeah, so they involve also their head, like the dance, Also, Kenya is also renowned for its art, which include beadworks, carvings, and weaving. The country's art forms often feature wildlife and the nature, reflecting the closeness connection between the people and the environment. So in conclusion, cultural practices have played a vital role in defining the relationship between South Africa and Kenya, despite the attempts by the colonial powers to impose their cultural or their culture at these two nations or these nations of Africa. The people have continued to practice their cultural traditions till today. So these cultural practices have not only helped preserve the heritage of South Africa and Kenya, but have also created a shared sense of identity between these two nations. We have hoped that this video has given you some insight into the cultural practice of these two African nations. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Till next time, bye.